Hey, so in this edition of the A Sharp Photo Journal, I will be going over my alter ego Halloween shoot with model Shy Dawson. Again, Michae Allen of A Sharp Photo, one and only plus size certified photographer in the galaxy and owner of Umbrella Stock. So I did this Halloween shoot a little while ago, and if you don't know what an alter ego shoot is, it's when you normally take two different ideas, same model, two different ideas, right? So maybe a corporate and like an athletic or something like that. If they do multiple things, so then you can put them in a different light. I wanted to take this one a step further by, at some point in the shoot, putting both ideas in the same frame. That's fun. I always like to do that. So because it was Halloween, we were going with a witch idea, but kind of a good witch and a bad witch. All right, so let's go through the images real quick and see what we see. Okay. All right, so first, like I said, we were going with like a good witch vibe, which is, you got the pink, you know what I mean? Real smiley, real happy. I like the way that Shy styled this. She made the hat, she made the wand. It's great to work with somebody who's excited about doing what it is they do. And everybody works at different levels, right? And it's okay. You have some people who their focus is just the modeling. Shy, fortunately, she likes the modeling as well as the styling. So she really gets into it. So I think the thing with that is when you do that, then when the character shows up, it's fully alive, and she's going to be excited to be in that space. So we shot this at Wynwood. I like Wynwood because there's just so many different backgrounds and textures and all that, and I'm wondering, I feel like, I don't even know if we knew this was there. That's what I like about working. And when you go to Wynwood, you can kind of just go and walk around and say, oh, this is good, I like this. So because we were going for this light and airy vibe, of course, this flower wall was perfect. Now, I wish the wall was taller because it was a shorter wall and I didn't have a lot of space. I had the shooter, with a wider angle lens, and I don't like the way I don't like the angle at which I had to capture her. Even it was a really bright day and I didn't have a powerful enough flash to really kind of overpower the bright background. So I ended up trying to shoot so I didn't capture so much sky. Like if you can look at the plant behind her, right behind her hat there, and you can kind of tell that the background is a little blown out. Oh man. And that might be a personal preference. It really might not make a big difference because I feel like she's exposed well, but kind of wanted something different. But that's a mix between the tools you have to use and then your ability to kind of navigate the background. I wanted to blur that wall a little more, which is why I didn't just put her closer to it. But maybe had I put her closer to the wall, then I wouldn't have had to deal with the sky, or done something like had her sit down, or maybe, had her lay down. Then we wouldn't have dealt with any of that. But sometimes, I know me, I have an idea and I want things to go a specific way, and they get stuck in my head, but it is what it is. So let's look at the next photo. Now this, we moved somewhere else and I like this a lot. So this, I had a whole lot of room. So I was able to pull her really far away from the background. And because it was a parking lot, huge parking lot with this wall painted, which again, these colors work perfect with what she's wearing. So pulled her all the way away from the wall. And I was also able to get the light closer to her since it was so far away. So I could really kind of get the exposure on the wall down and then get the exposure on her the way I want it. And as you can see, still playful, still happy. I'm loving the way that she's kind of managing this. I like this picture a lot. I like the way that the light is hitting her. I like the background. I like the look on her face. Her makeup is great. This is really nice. This is really cute. All right, so here's the switch. and I like the way that she did this. She was like, okay, this is easy. And one thing, when you can, it's always great I normally tell a lot of newer models, if you're doing a shoot, especially if you can get more than one look in the shoot, always see if you can change the background. And if you can, change your hair, because that gives the idea change your hair and your makeup. That gives the idea that you've done multiple shoots. One thing I've seen on some sites where, a model will put up a portfolio and the model will put up like 40 or 50 pictures, but same look, same outfit, same background, same hair, same makeup. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the only shoot that you've ever done. Is that necessarily a bad thing? No. But if you're trying to present the idea of experience, that's not going to do that. It's going to say, oh, okay, well, you got a whole bunch of pictures from one thing. You don't have any other pictures, so this, because it looks so different, and I'll go back to the other one, come to this, as far as this is a different day. Could be with a different photographer because the look is so different. So here we're going for the darker witch. So you see, she changed clothing. I found a different place to be, but it's not so much, I wasn't in direct sunlight, no, but I also lit it so that the background would be really dark. And even though it's really dark, it's not underexposed because you can still see a lot of the texture in her clothing. And of course, the mood is different. This was just, I saw her eye makeup and I really kind of wanted to punch in and get a detailed shot. And that's always great. If you got details going on, don't forget to get them, especially with video, and especially if you're doing any type of e-commerce where the focus is not on the model, but the focus is on the clothing or the makeup or the jewelry. You want to make sure that people see the intricate details of all of those things. So this is it's almost like a gratuitous photographer stuff, but I like it. Yeah, this is great. This is fun. This is, like I said, what we were going for. I got both of these witches in the same frame. So here's the trick with this, right? Tripod. Okay, so the background doesn't move at all and your lights don't move. So you want to light it in a way that both things are lit. So even though I'm shooting one person over here and one person over there, the lighting is balanced so it doesn't matter. It doesn't look like, oh, well, this person's in the dark and this person's in the light. Basically the light was in the middle of the frame so that it's equal. Now, I'll tell you, I really like this. It was fun to do. Great little magic trick. The one thing I wish I'd done was really marked that center line and put them closer together. This looks like I'm so scared of, crossing streams and accidentally having these two people interact. And I put them so far apart. It's definitely a real image, but it just looks like I worked so hard to keep them apart as opposed to maybe actually having them interact in some way. So had I known, okay, here are my lines, here's you, okay, let's move you close. Not to cross this line or not to cross this line in whatever way. And then I could have played with those ideas a little bit more. And this isn't the only shoot I got, shots that I got, but this is the one that I like the best out of all I got. But I think the next time I do this, I'll make sure that there's a lot more interplay, whereas maybe they're looking at each other, maybe they're reaching for each other, maybe they're a lot closer, because I think the best thing when you do something like this is for it to look like it's almost real. You want people to kind of question, so if you can have them where they're reaching for each other and they're almost touching. They're not touching, but they're almost touching. Then it makes people say, well, wait a minute. Somebody who's not paying attention might look at this and say, oh, wow. Somebody who's paying attention is like, well, yeah, obviously. two different shots. But the closer you get them, then it makes you question. And again, you may know that it's not real, but the more you make it look real, it's like, I know it's not, but man, how is this done? All right, so these are all the pictures that I chose for me. One thing that I do, or that I like to do, is I normally have the model choose the pictures that they like for themselves, and once they choose the pictures they like for themselves, then I keep what they were like, well, that's cool, but I'm not crazy about that. So I normally go through a few rounds. I'll go through like 3 rounds, and then that third round is normally what people end up keeping, right? So then I'm like, well, depending on the situation, they can end up with everything they chose from round 3, and possibly everything from round 2. Round 1 is mine. Why? So when we share images, we're not all sharing the same images, so they can put out as many as they want, and I can, and there's no interlap, so that's just something that I like. So these were all the pictures that I chose, and these are the pictures that she chose. So we can go through those too. Again, I like this little bit less, and I had to crop it, right? You see it's almost touching the top of her hat, but a little bit less of that sky. Same thing though, you know what I mean? Where I wish I'd got that sky not quite as bright. Also, this is probably maybe a good study into, the images that I like versus the images that she liked. Spoiler alert, I like all of them. But yeah, all right, so here's this one. I feel like this one worked out a little bit better because she's bending her knees a little bit, so I was able to get rid of that sky altogether. I do feel like I didn't get that background blurred or underexposed enough, so it does feel a little cluttered to me, but I think her colors pull her away from that background a little bit. I could have done better, but yeah. And of course, she's great. She's having a great time. She's working a wand, all of that. I love it. Now, this is kind of what I wanted to go for. I think she still could have been away from the background a little bit more, and I probably could have gotten it a little bit darker, but that's what I was going for as far as a more of a blurred background. So she's featured, in this. I like this. This feels like Raven from Teen Titans Go, or just Teen Titans. Now I even like the blue on the wall, and I love that shadow on the wall in front of her. And so because I'm shooting with flash, I'm not seeing this shadow on my camera, and I don't think I really took note of it when I shot this image, but I wish I noticed it and brought that light down so that shadow would have been a little bit higher. If that shadow would have been as tall as her on the wall, then it would have almost been more like the image was of the shadow and she was just there. But even without that, I really like this. This is a powerful image. And this one, I like this. This almost feels like Wednesday Addams. You guys, if you've been following me at all, I don't retouch this heavy, but I felt like this image needed that. It gives it this weird kind of, almost like she's not quite human. You know what I mean? Or you could think of it like she probably looks very different, and whatever magic she's using is making her look like this to the people that see her. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to have your own style and your own approach, but then you should also be flexible enough to say, well, the image calls for this, that, or the other. So even though my style may be specific, sometimes you can see an image and say, hey, this is the direction that I want to go with this. All right, so lastly, again, this is the This is both of them together. This is more of an interaction between the two of them. I like this a lot. You know, they're both, you know, the witch on the left, the dark witch, is really dismissive. The witch on the right is really friendly and playful with her twitch, right? Twin witch. But again, too far apart. I wish they'd been closer together. But yes, so that was my shoot with Shy Dawson. Look her up, Shy Dawson, on Instagram and on social media. So she's really good at what she does, you know, like I say, in terms of not just the modeling, but the styling as well. So, you know, if you bring her an idea, she's going to, you know, add water and grow it into much more. So it's really a collaborative effort, not just I'm taking a picture of somebody, but it's we are actually creating something together. So yeah, if you haven't done something like this, you know, as a model or even as a photographer, you should, you know, just have some fun, expand, see what you can do. It's good to take, you know, beautiful pictures. I think it's better to see, well, what can I do? You know, how can I make this exciting? Because if you are skilled, you know, as a photographer and as a model, if you are beautiful or compelling, you're gonna make pretty pictures. That's like a given. So it's like, how can we step beyond that? What can we do that's more than just a pretty picture? So thank you for watching. Y'all take care. Eyes up. Stay sharp.